A2000 EST OCOEE. They said if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. They said my time's wasted if I ain't chasing a bag. But pops told me never chase nothing. Only here to lead lost souls to the kingdom that's fast. I only focus on the kingdom and everything else that I need. I know it will attract. If I lose it all now, I know he'll bring it right back. I ain't worried about the cards or the clothes or the plaque. Even if I ball and count big stacks, I would never put that before you know I won't get attached. Cause that would never last though. You wrapped your arms around me like a lasso. You went and painted the picture Picasso. Oops, Picasso, you made my heart grow. A lesson I learned from the seed is it starts slow. Trust me, you gon' see the tree if you look close. Don't you know having faith is a substance of things that you don't see.
Merely said in the chat.
Yo, what's up? It's time to be back again with yet another stream. Yo, what's up? Really nice to see you in the chat there. Oh, hold on, give me a second. Oh, let's go. We got buttered up in the chat. Hold on, give me 1 second. Had to throw my cardboard boxes over there into the corner. What is up, you guys? Nice to see you guys in the chat. You guys are some of my newer viewers. During the streams, like during the week, usually on Tuesdays, it's like Newsday Tuesday, where usually what I'll do is I'll talk about the news, take some react requests if you guys have some react requests to send into the Discord. I will say that I'm trying not to take as many requests this stream, just because it's a little late, so I'm probably only going to be able to stream for like an hour or so. I do have a fair bit of topics here, but if you guys have a video that's like 5 minutes or shorter that you want me to react to, then I'll be okay with reacting to that probably. But yeah, the reason why I'm so late is I went and saw Blue Beetle. And actually didn't think it was too bad. I enjoyed it. Actually, hold on. I could go into my whole like review, because typically what I do is like all my streams are basically for the Clips channel except for when I game. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a segment where we talk about Blue Beetle, because I do have some thoughts about Blue Beetle. Hold on. Let me cut the music. Okay, there we go. All right, so I went and saw Blue Beetle in theaters, and I thought it was kind of interesting. I saw online later that a lot of people hated the movie after it came out, but I actually kind of enjoyed it. Now, I do think that there were some things that bungled. One thing that was extremely annoying was how the entire family of the main character kept on just screaming the entire time. Like, I enjoyed the movie for the most part, but whenever I would really start enjoying the movie, there'd be some like uncle or father or mother or sibling screaming like ah! Like, I didn't understand why everyone started screaming like so much. Like, people were like, oh, this feels like it borrows from tons of other, you know, superhero movies that came before. And I didn't really get that impression, but I definitely got the impression that they borrowed the screaming goats from Thor: Love and Thunder, which was like, of anything you could have borrowed, why would you borrow that? Why would you borrow that from from any other superhero movie? But yeah, to get to like sort of like the meat of the film I think is okay. It doesn't necessarily stand out when it comes to storytelling. I do think that they kind of leave little Easter eggs for some more, some deeper stories later on. But overall, it's a fun movie. It's an enjoyable movie. It is probably, I know the bar is kind of low, but it's one of the best superhero movies that has come to theaters as of late, I think. It's probably the best DC movie that's been in theaters for the entire year. And it is, I think, better than most of the Marvel movies that have come out this year. I think Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was definitely better than it, but, I mean, is Captain Marvel going to be better than this movie? I don't know. I think one thing that was kind of refreshing is that this movie didn't try to, like, reinvent the wheel. It's just like a normal superhero movie. And it's not, like, awful, right? Like, I know a lot of people are bored with it because it's just like, oh, it's just like every other like superhero movie that we've seen. But you don't see people talking about that when it comes to like Western films. You don't see people talking about that when it comes to like action movies. So I don't know if that's a judge of whether or not this movie individually is good or bad, you know, of whether or not it, you know, seems like other superhero movies that have, you know, come out at around the same time. Now, and I am going to get into spoiler territory here. Also, nice to see you here in the chat, Sol Detricus. You have to tell me how to pronounce your name sometime. But anyways, so to get into spoilers, this movie was okay. I will say that there were some things about the film that just like I was a little bit confused by. So the villain, and I'm gonna dive right into this because I think this is one of the biggest problems storytelling wise in this film is that you have two main villains, right? And I forget their names. I think the female leader of the company, the CEO, is Victoria, I think, or something. But yeah, so you have the CEO of the company, and then she has a henchman, and the henchman has like all these superpowers, and he goes and like beats people up or whatever. But she's just like the mastermind. So the problem is, like, well, first of all, her, I think, granddaughter is like, she is what's it called? Not Dominican. I forget her ethnicity. It's not Italian, although she definitely looks Italian. Oh shoot, I forget her ethnicity, but she's mixed. She's like half white, and the CEO of the company is like 100% white. It seems like so. She was mad that she didn't get the company, while the granddaughter's father did get the company. And I thought that if they wanted to go to some sort of like racial undertones thing, that could have been a very easy, natural way to go about it, because then it kind of makes her, you know, dream or her goal to like, you know, make this company be big and huge and as massive as it can possibly be. It makes it more than just, I want to, you know, have super soldiers. Like she has a bitterness within her, and you know, she is upset that she didn't get the company originally before the father mysteriously passed away. But the weird thing is like they could have set this movie up to where she's, you know, not just, you know, wanting to have this big massive company, but also she felt like she should have received the company when the person who originally made the company died. But instead it was given down to this person who was like not white or whatever. So she could have been, you know, mad about that. I thought that could have been a way to do racism in a film in a way that kind of works, but instead she just got a Hispanic person's name wrong or something, which I was like, huh? Like what? Like that's like a weird way to do racism in a film. It's just like, oh, she's super racist. You know, how can you tell? Oh, she gets Hispanic people's names wrong. Like, what? And like there was one scene where like she did like call like some Hispanic people trash or something, but it was also that felt a little bit shoehorned in and almost like retrospective. And it's like, oh, we're 7/8 of the way through the rest of this movie. We need to, you know, remind the audience that she's racist. Why don't we have her call them trash? Like, and that just felt kind of weird. I also do think so. The female CEO, she dies by the end of the movie. Now, the great-granddaughter who falls in love with the main character in this film, she, like, there's a scene where, like, she cries with the rest of the family because the rest of the family is also mourning the death of, you know, the father who, you know, ran the household or whatever. And she's crying, but it's not clear whether or not she's crying because that dad of the other family died or her own mother died. Because it was heavily implied to her, even though, you know, she didn't see it, that, you know, her mother died. And I was thinking that it would be really interesting exploration of, oh, you know, what are the emotions like when you have this like relatively close family member, right? A great grandmom who seems to be the only member of her family that's still around. But she's doing all of these terrible, awful things that she's so diametrically opposed to. Like, what are the emotions then when you lose that person in your life? you know, on one hand, this person did some really awful things you really didn't like, but on the other hand, she's family. She's like one of the only like living family members that you have. Do you just like write all that off? Or do you cry because you're upset, but you're also still mad and happy that the person's not like doing any bad stuff anymore? I'm sure there are a lot of complex emotions there that they could have explored, but they just didn't. And also when it comes to this film being complex, and I could take away the spoiler warning now. Another thing too, when it comes to like being complex, this film, I was a little bit confused as to who or what type of audience this movie was for, because on the surface level, it seemed kind of like a childish film, but also, and not in a bad way, it's just like, this seems like a movie that you would like throw in front of teens and just like let them watch. But then on the other hand, it's like the amount of language that they had seemed to be a bit much for a movie targeted at like teens or kids. And I'm no prude, but I'm like, why would you make this movie with such a simplistic and basic story, and you know, in the style of like you know, an action superhero movie for kids, but then have all this cursing in there? There's like a scene where like a main character is the main character is like completely actually hold on, here's the spoiler. There's one scene where like the main character is like completely naked and you don't like see any naughty bits. Like they're you know, strategically obscured. They're all still there. And I'm like, well, is this like a movie that you would like give to kids? It doesn't really feel like a movie that you would give to kids and they would be completely happy. And it doesn't seem like a movie you would give to adults and they would be completely happy either. It's just like, I don't know who this movie's for. But that said, I do think it's better than most DC movies that have been out in theaters so far. Better than a lot of Marvel movies that have been out in theaters so far, especially the MCU shows. Like, the MCU shows have been an awful streak. So, you know, Blue Beetle's mid, but I think in this current climate, that's kind of refreshing because we're seeing a lot of awful superhero stuff, especially when it comes to the MCU shows, and especially when it comes to DC movies. So to see DC come out with what is one of the best superhero films of the year just seems a little weird. And it does feel like, you know, DC is going to overtake Marvel when it comes to films, which I do think is going to happen eventually if Marvel doesn't get their act together, especially if they don't make their movies better. And, you know, the state of Marvel is a whole other discussion, right? But just when it comes to Blue Beetle, I think it's fine, fun, enjoyable. It's a little bit predictable. Yes, it's a little bit cheesy, campy. Yes, but guess what also are all of those things? The majority of superhero movies, right? So if you're looking at this movie just by itself, it's not a bad film. It is somewhat enjoyable. You're not gonna love it, but you probably won't hate it either. So yeah, if you're thinking about watching it, I would recommend you go see it in theaters because it's probably not gonna be in theaters for very long. So yeah, I mean, that's just pretty much my thoughts. I would love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments. So yeah, let's hear it. All right. Let's see here. I'm gonna read these chats here. Oh, yo, we got we got official Mike here in the chat. Let's go. What's up, man? Says I just got back from work and guess what? The haunted house has some good training games. What does that mean? Merely said they were watching Dragon Ball Z for real. You mean in making the movie? I did hear like people compare Blue Beetle to like films and things.
Said in the chat. You didn't really spoil the movie.
I kind of spoiled the movie. There were like I told you. Yo. Hold on, I don't know why the spoiler thing doesn't go over there. But I literally told you guys.
Said in the chat. Like, I think I could watch it and be normal.
Yeah, I mean, but I literally told you guys, and here's a legit spoiler. I literally told you guys that the main villain boss lady, you know, she dies in the end. I literally told you guys that. I guess there aren't that many other, you know, plot points that I spoiled except for, like, the nudity. But, I mean, I don't know. It is a spoiler, you know. It is a spoiler. Merely says Blue Beetle, but misspelled it. Nice. Official Mike said, there's room for bad language. You hear it in your middle schools. I'm not in my middle schools. And not all my kids. If I ever had kids, I don't know if I would put them in public school. Right? And it's not like, oh, you know, they'll see it on the internet. So it's fine to just let them run wild with the content. Like, I don't agree with that.
So it's like a lukewarm movie.
I mean, yeah. It is, but the thing is, like, the majority of movies in general have been like, it's not just movies, right? Because you have to consider that the majority of superhero media that we've been getting has actually been, you know, MCU shows on Disney Plus, as of late. But this movie is better than a lot of like superhero multimedia that we've been seeing out here. That doesn't make it great,
in the chat.
But it makes it pretty good in comparison. So it's like, if you want to go see a superhero movie. There are a lot of bad,
really stale.
There are a lot of worse decisions you can make than seeing this movie. Like, a lot of worse decisions you can make than seeing this movie. So it kind of works. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. All right, any more chats before I go on to the next topic, which is Donald Trump being not being on the GOP debates.
Nearly. Said in the chat, I feel like a lot of movies just fell off after around 2021-ish.
I mean, movies started falling off in like 2016/2017 because Donald Trump got elected, and then, you know, all of the people in Hollywood and California and stuff, they all got mad and salty and started crying, and they were really all bent out of shape. And, you know, the quality of their content suffered for it. It is what it is. I don't know how many of them were getting the therapy that they needed. Like, they might have needed a lot more therapy than they were getting.
Official Mike said in the chat,
Mike said,
because they need to give their writers LSD.
What do you mean by that? Who was giving writers LSD? Bro, if we're getting writers with LSD, why have we not seen a live action adaptation of the sequel to Alice in Wonderland yet? But anyways, time to dive into the next topic. So it's been a point of contention, right, that Donald Trump is not appearing in the GOP presidential debate that will be happening on Wednesday on I believe Fox News, Fox Business, one of those channels. But it's interesting because Trump is, you know, going to be on Tucker Carlson's show instead, and he's already taped his interview with him. So that's just going to be something that premieres on Tucker Carlson's Twitter/X account. So, you know, Donald Trump has decided to try to undercut the GOP debate, which is a kind of interesting choice to try to do counter programming. Now, I think this brings into the extra. I think this brings an interesting question, which is this good or is this bad? Now, I will say, and I'm going to be completely honest, right? I do not like Donald Trump particularly much. Now, I do kind of want to root for the guy because of all the political persecution that he's facing, but I have a problem with his relatively big government approaches to various things. He didn't drain the swamp like he promised that he would. Now he's running around promising that he'll drain the swamp again. Okay, yeah, sure, buddy. And he also mistreated, in my opinion, Mike Pence due to the completely understandable decisions that he made during January 6th to, accept the, to accept the mainstream slates, right? The generally accepted slates when counting the Electoral College votes and certifying them as vice president. But in any case, all of that notwithstanding, I do think that this is a bad move. I think this is a bad move for two reasons. One, I think Trump risks losing the spotlight. I think what he's trying to do is get less people to watch a GOP debate, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think people are going to watch both. It's not going to be impossible to watch both. Especially if Trump's thing is just a video that is posted versus the GOP thing being a debate that is live. I think that if you have something that's live, there's probably a bigger draw to watch that, because if you're not watching it live, you're missing out. But if something is like available on demand as video, you can watch that anytime, right? So I do think a lot of people are still going to watch the GOP debate. And if a lot of people still watch the GOP debate, that will hurt Trump because people are going to let that overshadow the interview with Tucker Carlson that Donald Trump plans on, having Tucker Carlson release on X. Another thing, too, is that Donald Trump is not giving himself an opportunity to defend himself against attacks against him on the campaign stage. So they're going to be able to sit around like throwing all these haymakers against him, lashing out with all these various claims and things. And Donald Trump is not going to be able to respond because he's not live on the air able to defend himself from these claims. Now, I'm sure that there will be the apologists right on the stage who will defend the guy. One person that I like who will be on the stage, Vivek Ramaswamy, is going to be one of those people. But, I still don't like the idea of, just running away from what would probably be, to some degree, relatively understandable and legitimate critiques. Like, people are going to ask some serious questions about Donald Trump that I wish Donald Trump could answer, such as, do you take any responsibility for cratering the economy with all your COVID-19 stimulus checks? Like, that's a legitimate question, but he's not going to be answering that question on the stage. So it's like, I think that this could hurt Donald Trump, and, this has the capacity to hurt Donald Trump more than it could help him. Because let's face it, we have some strong candidates out here in this GOP field. I mean, I like all of them, but there are some good ones in this field, and there are a handful of good ones who will be on that debate stage. And so if Donald Trump loses a spotlight, it's not like he's losing the spotlight to, characters who aren't particularly interesting. Yes, I know we have Chris Christie and Mike Pence on the stage, but the majority of those, contenders are actually interesting and compelling and serious people. So in the meantime, how would this help Trump? It's not like Trump is losing in the polls exactly. So if he upstages, the GOP candidates, maybe, he doesn't like lose any ground, but does he gain any ground? I don't know if he's going to gain too much ground with a Tucker Carlson interview. I don't know what more that does to make him more appealing. The only thing that Donald Trump can do to be more appealing is get himself indicted some more, arrested some more, and thrown in jail. Really look like the political prisoner that you are and allow people to marvel at the fact that you're still alive, despite what very clearly seems to be the sitting president kind of coming at your head here. But this is just not a great move. Now, Donald Trump has said that he won't appear in any future debates, but he has the chance to change his mind if he wants to, and I really think that he should, because in that case, because that's the only thing I think that can keep him from being completely relevant, especially if he's put in jail and is no longer able to release any more like public statements. All right, time to read some more of your guys' chats here. Butter said, imagine making a heroin circle with homeless people and make them make a movie idea. That'd be kind of interesting. You could also get someone with ADHD to come up with movie ideas. I could come up with movie ideas. Want me to come up with like 5 movie ideas? 5 movie ideas? Trying to think of 5 movie ideas. Okay, sci-fi movie. There is a very Earth-like planet.
Merely.
That is
said in the chat.
Okay, five
As a
ideas.
Canadian, I know
One,
what was
you have
told
a very
to me, LOL.
You have a very Earth-like planet that, with a civilization that looks very much like ours, but is populated by baboons. And they have a space program. They launch, a plan to go into space, and they go and find an inhabitable planet. They land there. It turns out that there are primitive people there. It'd be kind of an interesting plot, I feel like. So you could do that. Secondly, you could do like an action movie that's kind of like Mission Impossible, or a film of that ilk. But
said in the chat.
But
oh yeah.
Instead of it being, this is good guys versus bad guys, you have like 3 or 4 different teams of people all fighting each other. And there's enough plot withheld from you that you don't know who's the good guy and who's the bad guy until the very end. So there, it's a second idea. I'm trying to think of Let's see. Trying to think of a third one. Would be a good third movie. Oh yes. I'm trying to think. I have the genre in my head. It's like I'm trying to think of a third movie. Okay. Oh yeah. Here's a. Okay. Third movie. Okay. So, there's a woman, right, who's like a millionaire, and she had a crush on this dude.
Said in the chat.
Okay.
Bro, what?
Okay. Here's a third movie idea. Okay. There's this woman, right? And she's like a very successful millionaire. And there was this one dude who, like, in like high school or college or something, she really wanted to.
Or like a one that the bad guy or good guy comes from your moral standpoint.
She really wanted to date this dude.
Said in the chat.
But like she had like this massive crush on him. But he did not give her the time of day.
In the chat.
Now. The dude ended up just being like a normal middle class guy and like living his own life or whatever. But the millionaire woman, her family's gone. She doesn't really have friends because friends aren't really like they're fake basically. They're just trying to leech off of her. So what she decides to do,
we getting into Hollywood.
What she decides to do is write this will, where in order to get back at the guy who refused to date her. He writes in this will that he will get $10 million if he goes out on a date with every single one of his exes. And that date has to last for an hour. That would be a crazy movie. It'd be like a weird like rom-com thing with like a strange twist. Like I think that would be kind of interesting. So that's like 3. So I think I said I would come up with like five plot ideas, right? Five plot ideas. Okay, here's one. Fourth one. And this would be kind of like Malcolm and Marie style, where it's a what's it called? Like a bubble film or whatever, or like a bottle film where everything happens in one room. But it's basically this relatively rich family. Once a year, they go and have Thanksgiving dinner, and then after Thanksgiving dinner, they play like the family game of Uno. And so Thanksgiving dinner goes rather well, rather nice. People are exchanging pleasantries or whatever, and then kind of catching up.
In the chat.
But then the Uno games.
Making it out the roads with this one.
But then the Uno game starts, right? And as they're playing Uno, like all of these like tempers are flaring up. And then it just shows how like completely dysfunctional like the family is until like the movie just like ends with everyone just like screaming at each other and like crying and throwing like chairs everywhere and stuff. Like it goes from like a very calm, peaceful, joyous Thanksgiving dinner to just absolute chaos and mayhem and pandemonium. Like that would be a fun movie to watch, I feel like. It'd be a fun movie to watch. What would be another one? I kind of want to do like a Western type movie. But what would be like a good like Western plot that hasn't been done before? Yeah, see, I did have a super generic Western plot that would actually apply to that would actually like appease and be interesting to like woke people, which would be like, a dude from the North is tasked by the President of the United States to go down.
TBH feel like the Uno one would be more on the short clip / skit end.
Okay. So to talk about the Uno one.
Said in the chat.
To talk about the Uno one.
4 drugged homeless thought havers on this occasion.
Okay, so the Uno movie would actually be like 80 or 90 minutes long. Like it wouldn't be a short film, but it'd be like a direct-to-TV film. Like how long was Malcolm and Marie, for example? Like that's kind of in the vein that I'm thinking, just in like general style. But how long was Malcolm and Marie? Malcolm and Marie. That was a little long. That was like 1 hour and 46 minutes. So a little bit shorter than that. But yeah, so super generic Western movie idea would be it's about the guy who was tasked by the president of the United States to give the news to the folks in Texas that like slavery is like no longer a thing, right? And that slavery is like now abolished in the United States. But then you shoehorn in this plot about like mercenaries from the South over there trying to kill him so that like Texas is still effectively a slave state, because they don't know that slavery is like abolished now. Try to keep him from spreading the word. I mean, it's kind of like a woke plot, but also could have lots of tense moments because at the end of the day, it's really just about a guy who's trying to escape from mercenaries. Like we've seen that plot in like films all the time. But I think it's too boring. It's not a great idea. So I'm trying to think of a better one because I want 5 good Hollywood plot ideas, right? 5 good Hollywood plot ideas. What would be a good 5th one? A good 5th one. Okay, chat. Here, give me a genre. Give me a genre of film that I should develop the idea for. You give me the genre, and I can come up with the plot. Because, I could come up with a plot, right? But I'm kind of interested to see what you guys want me to, like, generate a pitch for. One idea is just like Evil Superman. I really want a live-action Evil Superman movie, and I am still upset that we got robbed of that because they never let Zack Snyder finish the Snyderverse.
Said in the chat. Wild West.
Wild West.
Merely. Said in the chat. Fear of the unknown.
Fear of the unknown? I don't know what kind of genre that is. Fear of the unknown is like a theme. It's not a genre. Fear of the unknown? I mean, is this just like Naked and Afraid? Like... What is Fear of the Unknown? Oh, excuse me. I have a great idea. There's a man. Okay, in the film, there's a man. He wakes up, and he is in the middle of like Yosemite National Park, and he has no idea who he is, why he's there, and he like barely knows a lot of survival stuff. He has to figure out how to get out of Yosemite National Park within 24 hours before the sun goes down, because either he'll be eaten alive by animals or he'll like freeze to death or whatever.
In the chat. No idea.
So yeah, this
LOL.
dude is stuck out here. He has to figure out like how to get out, escape, and survive. He has no cell phone or anything like that. He has to literally climb his way out of Yosemite National Park. And then the plot twist would be that he remembers who he was. He remembers who he is. It turns out he had tried to commit suicide, and as he fell off of a cliff, he bumped his head. And so he woke up with a concussion, which is why he forgot who he was. Right? That would be an interesting story. A little suspenseful. Probably not a movie I would watch, but I think that'd be kind of an interesting story. See, those are 5 stories, 5 Hollywood ideas. Hollywood, make these movies, please. This would be really interesting if you guys did this. If you guys have any like movie ideas too, like leave those in the live chat or leave those in the comments. I would love to read those. Those would be very interesting. Fear of the Unknown. I can't believe I got that from Fear of the Unknown. Oh. Oh my goodness. What did you guys think of my ideas? Were they good? Or were they just like crazy? Because I know I can come up with like off the wall ideas from time to time.
Official Mike said in the chat. Note newbie, I'm thinking of cancelling my pre-order of Cities Skylines 2 on Xbox and pre-purchase it on Steam instead. What you think?
Why? Oh, do you play PC more?
Said in the chat.
Do you play PC more?
I like them.
Oh, you like them? Nice.
Said in the chat.
That's cool.
In between LOL. Butter.
The last one was
Said
really
in the
good.
chat. The last one was really good.
I think of all of the ideas that I came up with, that one and the Thanksgiving one would be the ones that would like win awards. They'd be the movies that like were like created by like A24. They'd get like 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb, and they'd get like 3 or 4 Oscar nominations. Everyone would say it was boring, bland, and like underwhelming, and the critics would love it and like want to give me flowers in the mail.
Official Mike said in the chat.
But all right.
I pre-ordered it at a time when I wasn't sure when I was
Let's
getting
see.
a new computer, but now I have that new computer, so I'm thinking that is what I should do.
All right. Pre-ordered at a time when I wasn't sure if I was getting a new computer, but now I have a new computer, so I'm thinking that's what I should do. Yeah, that's fair. It'd be cool if you could have it on both Xbox and PC, but I guess if it's not in the Microsoft store, then it wouldn't really connect like that. But if you game more on your computer, then yeah, just get it for the system you'll want to game on the most, because that's the one it would make sense to, get the game for. But anyways, let's see. So we all know that Donald Trump is not going to be attending. Because this video is going to come out late. So we know that Donald Trump wasn't, able to be at the GOP presidential debate. But you know who else wasn't at the GOP presidential debate was Larry Elder. Now you guys might not know who he is. He is a actually, hold on. Let me see. He had a wonderful moment on Charlemagne's program. Let's see. Larry Elder, The Breakfast Club. Let's see. Where's the moment? I'm trying to find this clip. Oh my goodness. There's this clip that went viral. I can't find it. Well, I guess it's because I'm looking it up on YouTube. I'm sure if I looked it up on what's it called? Twitter or whatever, if I was logged in, I'd probably see it. Larry Elder, The Breakfast Club. Let me search this up. Larry Elder, The Breakfast Club. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Now, you guys might not know who Larry Elder is, but Larry Elder he's kind of an interesting figure. He's running for president, and he has, some winning moments, such as this one.
Have you ever heard the term nigga wake-up call?
No.
It is an incident where a person of color forgets that they are of color and are reminded rather brutally by an unexpected act of racism. Have you ever had any of those?
Oh, brother.
I'm just asking. You think you've ever had
Well,
one of
I'm acutely aware, Charlemagne, that I'm a black person, just as you are a black person. And when Joe Biden insulted you by saying, you ain't really black, we don't know whether or not you want to vote for me or vote for Donald Trump, it seems to me that should have been a wake-up call on your part.
Boom! So yeah, this dude has a great head on his shoulders. He's a very interesting candidate. I don't think he'll win, but he's an interesting candidate nonetheless. And I do think that if you're running for president, you should get an equal chance at the presidency. You shouldn't get snubbed by the media or whatever. Now, Larry Elder was banned from being in the presidential debate. And he now says that he will sue. Now, Larry Elder does a really good job of articulating what kind of caused him to be kicked out of the debate.
As you can see, I'm at LAX en route to Milwaukee. I was just informed by the RNC that I'm not qualified for the debate. Why? Even though I exceeded the 40,000 individual donations required, even though I signed the pledge to support the eventual nominee, even though I submitted 3 polls where I was at least at 1%, I was informed that one of the polls is not eligible. It's the Rasmussen poll, even though it's the most accurate poll.
Which is like the weirdest thing. Rasmussen is a frequently cited poll. I don't think that there's any, good reason, any legitimate reason that you could give me why a Rasmussen poll would not be eligible to be used to test whether or not a candidate should be allowed to be in a presidential debate. It makes perfect sense.
predicting that Donald Trump would win in 2016. They say it is affiliated with Donald Trump and therefore it is not eligible.
How is it affiliated with? This is ridiculous. How is Rasmussen affiliated with Donald Trump?
And I said to Ronna McDaniel, the chairwoman of the RNC, is not affiliated with me. She said any poll affiliated with any candidate is not eligible. And no one told me that until just now. So we're filing an emergency injunction to get me up there. This is absolutely BS. One of the candidates, by the way, offered a $20 gift certificate for a $1 donation. That apparently is okay. Another one offered a free...
What? You're paying people to donate to you? That's that's bad. That had to be, who was it, Asa Hutchinson? Did he make it on the stage? If that was him, if that was him and he's on the stage, I would not be surprised.
Air quotes country western concert for a $1 donation. That apparently is okay. Another one offered a commission to prospective donors to get other prospective donors. That apparently is okay. But I did it the old-fashioned way, asking people to support me by going to LarryElder.com, and that is not okay. And now all of a sudden, I'm not eligible. It is designed, in my opinion, to make sure that Ron DeSantis is a nominee. Anybody other than Trump. This is BS. I will see you in Milwaukee. Out.
That was crazy. It's crazy. And I do think that Larry Elder should, he should have been told, right, that poll was, not eligible. And really, I think it should be eligible to be used. I don't understand why anyone in their right mind would say that the Rasmussen poll is affiliated with Trump in any way. But, I don't think that Larry Elder will win, but I do wish him the best. He's a very interesting guy. He says some really common sense things. He very clearly has some, winning moments here. He's the type of person who I think would resonate with a lot of Americans if they were allowed to see his face. A lot of people still don't know who this dude is, right? He's running for president. So I do hope that maybe somebody else comes up with another forum like Blaze TV did. They came up with that forum to, Tucker Carlson interviewed all those other presidential candidates. I think that, the independent media apparatus of the right-wing side of the spectrum should do what they can to lift up candidates like him and lift up, others who weren't allowed to be on that debate stage. Because, I think everyone does deserve, to have an even shot at the election. And being able to have these platforms where people will tune into you and hear your plans and your policies, I think that's just, a big part of that. Let's see. Butterbird in the chat says, when you get sick, they delivered whole bouquets. That is true. It's very true. Here's my mic. So that's off Microsoft Store versus Steam, and Steam would offer more and it's cheaper. I mean, Steam, is usually a better deal getting something from Steam anyways. Merely said, political on Justin Trudeau. I don't know much about Justin Trudeau. I don't know if you guys could tell, but I'm a little bit of an American. So, and it's like, again, right? Official Mike said, he talks about, Donald Trump, Joe Biden here and there, but it's mostly, I hate Joe Biden. I mean, not Joe Biden. Official Mike does talk about Trudeau here and there, but it's mostly like, I hate Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau should be ousted. Yeah, Trudeau. Well, okay, fine, but that's not anything new. I'm talking about what's happening in politics right now, not about how much I don't like Trudeau, how much I don't like Joe Biden. That is where things, I think, start to get a little bit boring, right? First on my mic said, do you think Biden will win in 2024? Legitimately, no. And I think there are questions about that in 2020. I don't think that he'll win. I think that I think that he had, this may be a hot take, but, I am not entirely confident with the 2020 election, and I think that, support in him was surprisingly low, and I think considering that, support in him is going to be even lower now, right? Here's the thing, right? When people vote, they care mostly about the economy, but they also vote based on what makes them feel like America will be a better place when you elect him. Now, Donald Trump, hate him all you want to, right? But the economy was roaring for the first half, I would say, of his presidency. The economy was roaring. The economy was booming. We had production up and stuff. Under Joe Biden, we had like the exact opposite. Now, I do think that some of the things that Donald Trump did towards the end of his presidency did contribute to this. Yes. But Joe Biden certainly hasn't helped things. There were things that Donald Trump did, such as, greenlight the Keystone XL pipeline, that Joe Biden went and rescinded, that then also, of course, hurt the economy. So it's like, I completely understand being like, oh, well, the economy's different. We have COVID-19. We've got all these different factors. Yes, true. But Joe Biden has done things that actively made the economy worse when it was already going down into the toilet. And just looking at the gas prices are way higher now than they were under Donald Trump. Right? Inflation is way higher than it was under Donald Trump. Now, I think that it's one thing we should point out is that, Donald Trump's not going to be able to fix the inflation problem single-handedly. That's just an issue of printing too much money. I don't think that can be completely counteracted. But people are going to vote for him thinking that he will fix inflation and stuff because inflation was low under him. So if we're looking at Joe Biden versus Trump, then I think it's easy dub for Donald Trump. Like, Donald Trump is probably going to knock it out of the park. I think that he'll probably see numbers comparable to 2016, but he will see massive gains among minority communities in comparison to 2020. But when it comes to other candidates, I don't know. I think that there are only a handful of GOP candidates who could lose to Joe Biden. I do think that Ron DeSantis is actually one of those people. He's not the type of person who connects with people very well. He just isn't really great when it comes to interacting with folks. Now, he has policies that people like. I don't really like them. I'm just being honest. I don't like a lot of them. But a lot of the GOP base likes him. But I just don't think that he has the charisma to make it past, I think, honestly, the first debate without getting in too much heat. So, I don't think that he'll be able to beat Joe Biden. I don't think Mike Pence will be able to beat Joe Biden. Mike Pence is basically just like a repeat of John McCain. Do we really want that? No. Asa Hutchinson is not going to be able to beat Joe Biden. Chris Christie, I think is 50-50. Is going to be a nail biter. But I don't think that he'll be able to pull it off against Joe Biden either. Just because, Chris Christie, no one takes Chris Christie seriously. I think that's part of the problem. I think the second part of the problem is that he has the Bridgegate scandal. I just don't think that he'll be able to pull that off. But everyone else, I think, should be able to win. Like, Vivek Ramaswamy, I think, has the highest chance of beating Joe Biden because he's everything that Joe Biden is not. He is articulate. He is smart. He is intelligent. He is young. He has a clear and concrete plan and vision for the future, right? Policies and all of that jazz. And also, he's not white. So, like, there are so many things that separate Vivek Ramaswamy from Joe Biden. And I think they all separate him in a good way. Not to say that, race is like, makes you more or less qualified. But I do think that, if you're trying to get, minority voters, not being white, I think helps, especially as a Republican. Also, I think it'd be really nice to see a person of color who is a Republican will become president of the United States, right? We've had, Barack Obama. He was president of the United States and he was, a Democrat. I would like to see a person of color win the nomination and the presidency of the GOP party for the first time. So we have the first Republican, black or person of color, who is a president. Tim Scott might be able to pull it off, but I'm kind of 50-50 on him. So I don't know. So Mike Weiss said, who do you think will win the GOP? It's a good question. I think that the person who wins the GOP is going to be the person who has the least repulsive policies while the most appealing personality. I do think that, a lot of this is going to boil down to personality. So it's going to be, it's going to go down to who is, interesting when they speak and who can, throw gotchas at the other candidates, right? I think that Chris Christie is going to do what he did last time, is just going to knock out some of the people below him, but not, pull himself up in any degree. So it's not going to be Chris Christie. I think it's either DeSantis on the popularity of his policies or Vivek based on, the strength of his rhetoric and his oration skills. I think it's really narrowed down to those two if we're ignoring Trump, right? Now, again, if Trump continues to try to hide in the shadows during GOP debates, then I don't think that'll bode well for his candidacy. But if I had to rank them all in likelihood of being nominated, I would say number 1, Trump, and actually number 2, Vivek Ramaswamy, and then number 3, I would have to say Ron DeSantis, because Ron DeSantis I think is losing steam. I don't think that he'll be particularly successful actually long term, which makes sense, right? The number 1, 2, and 3 guys don't usually stay the number 1, 2, and 3 guys, by the time that all is said and done when it comes to these things. All right, let's see here. So, we've got this video from Tucker Carlson. I don't know if I want to react to this video from Tucker Carlson, though. I'll be reacting to Tucker Carlson when I do the reaction to Donald Trump. The interview with Donald Trump, which, by the way, I'll be reacting to... Excuse me. I'll be reacting to the interview with Donald Trump. I will not be doing a live reaction to the GOP debate, in part because I'm worried about copyright, in part because I'm probably just watching it with family and maybe friends. I don't know. So if you guys want me to react to the GOP debate, I will do some tests. And if I don't get any copyright flags, I will react to it later on in a future stream. But for now, no, I'm not going to react to it live. But anyways, we have 2 more topics to get to. Here we have, and this was actually sent to me from the Discord for the React request. This is Secret Invasion Pitch Meeting by Pitch Meeting. Sorry for the YT chat covering up that screen there. That's, Secret Invasion Pitch Meeting by Pitch Meeting.
So, you got some new Marvel stuff for me?
Well, actually, sir, I thought maybe we could take a little break. We've been churning out so much content. I think everybody could use a little breather.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea, actually.
Right?
All right, that should about do it.
Yeah, that's good. So I'm thinking we do a Secret Invasion show.
Nice. That makes sense because it's like that's literally the break that we've been getting between Marvel projects, right? I think the Marvels is right around the corner if they haven't delayed it for the 3rd, 4th, or 5th time. I can't keep track of all of these shifting dates.
Oh, the shape-shifting Skrull storyline from the comics? That's the one.
So Nick Fury's gonna come back to Earth, and let me tell you, he's old and miserable now.
As all protagonists should be.
Yeah, and so he's gonna meet up with Maria Hill. Remember her?
Oh yeah, we only got snippets of their partnership in the movies. It'll be cool to dive into that a bit more.
Yeah, for sure. So she dies.
Oh, yeah, pretty much.
This is one of the things I was most upset about with the series. It's like It's like, why would you bring her in if you're just gonna kill her right off? Like, bruh.
Right away.
Dang it.
See, it turns out that some Skrulls are evil now, and there's a little faction of rebels that want to start World War III.
What are they rebelling against? Nick Fury. What do you mean?
See, he and Captain Marvel had promised to find them a new planet, but after looking around for like 2 years, they were like, no, there's nothing out there. There's no planets at all.
Why don't they work something out like the Asgardians to have their own little place on Earth?
Unclear. So now this Skrull named Gravik is in charge, and he hates Nick Fury and Talos.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and Talos' daughter Gaia is going to be a part of this group, but then she's going to realize, hey, maybe the Skrulls that want to kill a bunch of people aren't super nice.
Yeah, so she's going to switch sides. She is. Amazing.
But you know what's interesting? Maybe there's a bit of a hint of racism here because she doesn't leave the group because she doesn't leave the funny thing is, like, Gaia doesn't leave the group because Gravik is killing people. She leaves the group because Gravik is killing Skrull. And that, my friends, is textbook racism.
I mean, I kind of remember him from Captain Marvel.
Yeah, he was in that.
And, you know, maybe a post-credit scene. There's no way I'm checking.
Totally fair.
Anyway, so then Rhodey the Skrull advises the U.S. president to drop a big old bomb on the Skrull hideout in Russia, which would start World War III.
Uh-oh.
And so Gravik tells Fury, hey, I'll call off the strike if you bring me all the superhero DNA you scraped off the endgame battlefield, you big DNA collecting weirdo.
So, hey, why doesn't Nick Fury call the Avengers? That's kind of his move, isn't it?
We're actually going to address that. Fury's going to be like, no, this is way too personal. I got to do this myself. And also, we can't rely on superheroes all the time. He's going to risk the end of the world because he feels like this is a personal situation. That's right, it's personal. No superpowers. So what does he do? He sends guys.
I did not think about it like that until then, but that's just silly. That's just silly.
To go get superpowers and fight the fight for him. So Gaia shapeshifts into Nick Fury and goes to this super radioactive hideout and pretends to be dying from radiation and whatnot. Okay. And so then when Gravik gives him...
Not gonna lie, in that scene, I didn't mind that Nick Fury was there at all. People were like, oh, why would Nick Fury walk into an area filled with radiation? I was like, bro, he's Nick Fury. He probably took 1,000,000 iodine pills or something before he walked over there. I figured that was Nick Fury, but I also figured that he was pretending to be hurt by the radiation.
Self the powers, it also gives them to Gaia. What if he had just shot Fury or not kept him inside the machine with him? Well, it worked, so get all the way off my back about the plan, and then it's time for a final showdown between these two. It's time for Nick Fury's personal fight. That's right, and so Gaia and Gravik start punching each other with a bunch of recognizable superpowers. Like what? Well, like Gaia flexes Drax's muscly arm with the tattoos. Are his tattoos a part of his DNA? Hey, shut up, and she has Ghost's powers, you know, Ghost. Ghost couldn't really control those powers and also wasn't at the endgame battle. Hey, shut up, and Mantis's mind control powers to put Gravik to sleep. How does she know how to use those powers? Hey, shut up, and Ebony Maw's magic rings. How are rings a part of someone's DNA? Hey, shut up. Hey, shut up. Haven't we established that magic is something you learn?
I forgot. I forgot how bad that was. Because in isolation, the fight scene wasn't that bad, but now that I'm thinking about it, like, that's just plain awful. You gave this person superhero powers that traditionally superheroes have to learn, and she can just intuitively, use them, like as if she's like She-Hulk or something. Like, like what?
Hey, shut up. Well, okay then. Okay, great. So punch, 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 power beam, punch, 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 backflip probably. Very exciting. But hey, if they both have those extremist healing powers, it's going to be hard for one of them to win. Actually, it's going to be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yes, the guy is going to punch a big hole in his chest, and so that does it. He's dead now. Why does that do it if he has healing powers?
Exactly! This was my point. Although, they could very easily bring him back to life, and I think that would fix that problem entirely. Also, giving, I don't know, Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, maybe all of the Marvels, a potentially massive big baddie that they could fight in maybe the Marvels too, where it's all three of them against one person who has, a bajillion superpowers. That would be kind of interesting, wouldn't it, Marvel? Wouldn't it? I dare you to use this idea. I dare you to use this idea. Anyways, let's get back on track.
I mean, I kind of. So then when Gravik gives himself the powers, it also Rhodey and the president. Oh, yeah? Yeah, and Fury's going to be trying to convince the president it's going to be hard for one of them to win. Actually, it's going to be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yes, the guy is going to punch a big hole in his chest, and so that does it. He's dead now. Why does that do it if he has healing powers? Because the fight's over now. That worked. Oh, okay. Oh, and while that's happening, there's going to be a tense showdown between Fury and Rhodey and the president. Oh, yeah? Yeah, and Fury's going to be trying to convince the president that this freaking guy's a Skrull. Wow, if only there was a way for them to identify the Skrulls. Well, throughout the whole show, they're going to be shooting Skrulls because they bleed purple, so that, shows it. Why not do that now? Because this way we can have a couple of minutes of manufactured tension. Smart. And so after those couple of minutes are over, Fury's going to shoot Rhodey and reveal he's a Skrull. Oh, wow. Well, then the president's going to go on TV and declare all off-world species as enemy combatants. Oh, he is. And people are going to go nuts. There's going to be vigilantes running around shooting political leaders and stuff, trying to find the Skrulls. It's going to be absolute chaos and paranoia. That actually sounds like a more interesting secret invasion show. Yeah, well, Nick Fury has to leave Earth now, so we're not doing that. He's leaving? But he arguably showed up and made the situation a whole lot worse. Yeah, so now he's got to go. He's got to get out of there. All right. So what do you think? I think it sounds like a pretty good show. And hey, I'm picturing some cool, AI-generated intro credits. That'll really be cool. Oh. Oh, you're starting to use AI for stuff, huh? Yeah, but you don't have anything to worry about. We're just going to start using it for stuff like art and, you know, ideas and acting and voice acting, background acting, script writing. Oh, please don't. No, I mean, AI is getting really good. What's the alternative? Pay fair wages to human people for all the jobs you just mentioned? You sound insane. We don't do that now. I know. Anyway, let's spend $200 million on this and reshoot a bunch of it and chop it up in the editing room and dump it on a streaming service. We can do no wrong, and this system has no flaws.
Okay, well, hold on. To be fair, though, the reason why this movie cost this much money to make is that, you know, they basically reshot the whole movie. Or not the whole movie. They basically reshot the whole show. So it was supposed to cost like $100 million or so, but they needed to do heavy reshoots. Apparently, they started filming this before the war in Ukraine. And because of the like heavy connections that the series has to Ukraine and Russia, it was just too realistic. And they were like, this is too close to home. We can't do this plot anymore. Part of me wonders if actually the ending of the series was actually supposed to be the beginning to an extent. But they like reworked some of it, like all of like the humans shooting each other and stuff. Like part of me wonders if that was actually the main thing altogether. Because that would have been amazing, and it does feel like something completely different than like the rest of the series. So I am salty, just like Mr. Pitch Meeting here. I am salty that they did not capitalize on that idea.
Hi everybody, Ryan George here. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that pitch meeting.
Ryan George! His name is Ryan George. My bad. But anyways, let's see here. Got one more topic left, and this is about sexism. After my wife said people will vote blindly. True, to a degree. To a degree. Okay. All right. So I know a lot of you guys already know most of what's been happening with FouseyTube. He's basically going through a 24/7 manic episode live on Kick now because he got banned for being quite so manic on Twitch. He got banned for being extremely manic on Twitch. So, you know, he's been coming out with these like crazy clips such as this. And these clips have been going viral. And people are, you know, coming out of the woodwork saying that they're making YouTube videos about it. Like this guy literally, Colossal's Crazy, literally said he would be coming out of retirement to make a video about this guy. Did he actually do it? Did he actually do it? No, not yet. But he's going to. He's going to. But yeah, like the clips are of stuff like this.
Hello. What? Okay, somebody leave me. Look what's happening right now. This guy's trying to go viral off my name. Get the fuck away!
For context, he's literally only asking for a picture. A picture! That's all he's asking for. And the guy is screaming at him, saying like he's trying to get viral off my name. Or whatever in his like lispy voice.
Oh my god.
He should have stepped in and protected me. What the fuck? He's trying to go viral off my name. He's asking me about July 15th and Keem. What the fuck? Nobody does shit, man. You gotta help protect my image.
I am sorry, my friend, but you are live streaming on Kick. There's no way that, you know, anyone else can protect your image for you. You are your image. You know, you gotta do better, Senator, if you want people to think better of you. Especially if you're a live streamer, right? It's not like you're shooting these videos and having somebody else edit them and post them on YouTube, right? This is live. He can't blame anybody else for what he does and how that makes him look.
I'm bad. I'm like Kanye. I lose my mind.
The thing is, at least Kanye is creative and he has ideas and stuff.
I need people around me to protect my image. How the fuck do you guys not understand?
He doesn't need people around him to protect his image. He doesn't need people around him to protect his image. He needs people around him to protect him from himself, to be honest. And other people from him, most likely.
Understand that I have mental problems. I need help. Stay here with Kitty. I'll be right back.
And this was weird.
Me and Ross have to have a really important talk of what happened. What's wrong with you? Huh? What's wrong? Oh, I'm good. Really? Yeah.
Dude literally pulls the honey, you should smile move on one of his employees because he wasn't smiling.
Wait. Hey, Peter. What did I just say in there? Do not let me leave.
So he gets mad at them for letting him leave the building, and he decides to do this? That's how Succession ends, by the way, if you haven't seen it yet.
I thought you left to get the aux cord.
No, you guys left.
Fuck.
He runs into traffic?
No.
Never see anything like, oh, this was actually funny.
Listen.
Okay, despite the gravity of what this video that I'm making is about, that's hilarious. Listen.
Please.
Linda.
What are you doing in that moment? Canadians, why are you so slow? I'm sorry.
Did I say all your guesses went?
No, I just came from
I also love how everyone there is like trying their best not to laugh at him because they don't know if he's gonna lash back out at them with like a cat of nine tails or something.
Toronto. I was just at Carabana.
Hey. Canadians are kind.
Let's get the.
I was just at Carabana. I'm sorry. I know, but you're not letting me finish my story.
What are you gonna do?
Sounds like a little kid. Let me finish my story. Literally indistinguishable from a little kid.
Yell for no reason.
You should call me a psychopath.
Let me look at this shit, dog. What the fuck is going on?
What? Dude was over here cosplaying as a monk, okay? But, the reason why I brought this up is because I've been hearing a lot of people, especially like dudes, making video essays, laughing at this guy, kind of like making fun of him, just cracking tons of jokes, right, at, this dude's expense. And it does seem like, and again, I don't know tons about, bipolar depression or whatever, but it does seem to me like FouseyTube seems to be going through a massive manic episode, and he needs some serious help. He did say that he does have a therapist. He kind of confirmed that on one of his streams. Also during this stream where all those clips are from, he did say that he did say that he has the money or whatever to get like the help that he needs, but I don't think he is interested in doing that. And I found the coverage of this situation interesting because we had all these people out here making fun of this dude, for his manic episodes. And there was a time in recent history that I remember, relatively recent history, where someone by the name of Gabby Hanna was going around on TikTok making videos like this.
God, I wish I could sleep. God, I wish I could sleep. I can't wait to sleep. God, please let me sleep. But I can't today, because there's babies dying on the fucking street. There's babies dying on the motherfucking street. I saw a TikTok, back when I was still using TikTok, of babies on the street who adopted another baby on the street, 2 homeless babies adopting each other on the street, and they held hands all the way down the street. And he was speaking, and the mother said, he's praying for him. The homeless baby praying for the other homeless baby. Wake the fuck up.
What?
Wake the fuck up! Before we go to sleep, wake the fuck up! There's babies on the street!
What? And I think there were some other crazy stuff. There were some other crazy things that she... What were some other crazy things?
They said they're scared right now. Why are you so scared, children? What is so scary about me?
That's weird enough for me to just stop watching that altogether, to be honest, right? And so we had Gabby Hanna running around in what I think many confirmed to be a manic episode. And this was the general response of a lot of people to Gabby Hanna's manic episodes.
It's just so sad to see this happen, and sad to see how much attention it gets, because really what needs to happen is for her to get help. Now,
and this is from a video that has almost 250,000 views, by someone with a relatively large following, right? Drama Mama, over here saying as one of the main points of his video that she needs to get some help, and it is kind of sad and weird and unfortunate how much attention that she's getting. That was the general vibe from all the coverage of Gabby Hanna. But I find it weird. Why is it that when we cover a man who is live on stream going through a manic episode, we're running around making fun of him, but yet when a woman does the same thing, going so far as to let a stranger into her home and then randomly and rashly kick him out of the house for apparently no reason, how come covering a woman going through a manic phase on the internet is terrible, invasive, and you need to give her privacy and not give her attention? Why should we give FouseyTube more attention than we gave Gabby Hanna? Why should we be like zooming in and laughing and making fun of FouseyTube when we were supposed to just shield our eyes from Gabby Hanna? That just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me, right? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. They both were kind of going crazy. They both need to get some help. I believe Gabby Hanna actually ended up getting some help eventually, and now she's kind of sorted her stuff out a little bit. But FouseyTube hasn't, right? I think people around him, I would guess, the people around him are either scared of him or they're enabling his behavior. Kick, I think, is enabling his behavior by signing a deal with him when he got banned from Twitch. It's I feel like the internet wants to see this man continue to have manic moments and crazy moments, but the internet for some reason hated to see Gabby Hanna have the same types of moments, and it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. Why do you guys care more about the well-being of a woman who's in than of a man when they're both in very similar circumstances? It's a bit odd. It's a bit odd. Now maybe you guys have an idea of why this might be, and you can leave some comments down below. But I just find this, a little weird, just a little bit. I just thought that was interesting. You guys think I'm wrong about this? You guys think that I'm off? You think that that critique doesn't make sense? I would like to hear your takes on it, especially if you disagree. But I just thought that was strange. Official Mike Mike here actually says Official Mike Mike here says, I'm not sure. Maybe it's because men don't have mental illness society, not me. I don't know. I do hear rhetoric that it's men should be able to handle, criticism or bullying or whatever, because they're men or whatever. But women are just dainty little flowers where if you tell them that they're not a 10 out of 10, then they will just wilt and waste away. I do think that they're, from what I see, but here's the thing though, and the reason why I left that video open-ended, right, is, that is based on only what I see online. And you have to remember that the internet is not real life, right? We see podcasts like whatever podcast that for all intents and purposes, basically everybody on there, they're all cartoons, right? They're caricatures of what the modern woman is, right? You've got all these women running around in Florida, in Las Vegas getting ran through. That's not the majority of women, right? That's not the majority of women, even in their age demographic. So I do think that there's a perspective of what you see on the internet not reflecting real life that has to be taken into account, which is why I'm not 100% sure that that's what's contributing to this here. So that could be it. Maybe it's because people generally hate FouseyTube. It could also be that, FouseyTube has done things that made people dislike him, even though it was during a manic period. It seems like he's screwed some people over. So I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. But yeah, that's why I'm leaving it up to people in the comment section, people in the live chat, because I'm kind of interested to hear your guys' takes. Because it definitely seems like a double standard when it comes to covering men having mental health crises versus women having mental health crises. We've also got Merely here in the chat saying, honestly, that's just society standards and there's not much that we can do. I mean, true to an extent, but we can talk about it, and I think that talking about it helps probably, because the more people who are bringing attention to these types of things, I think that will increase the chance that things will change when it comes to these narratives, because, and that's one reason I'm making this video, because nobody's pointing this out. Nobody's pointing out how we were all trying to shield ourselves from Gabby Hanna, right, during her manic phases, but now we're just like supposed to watch every single video essay that you put out every single time the FouseyTube does another stream. It's like, what? The cognitive dissonance is real, right? When did you guys just like flip-flop your position on following, you know, internet content creators during manic episodes? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But anyways, I gotta wrap up the stream. I got work in the morning. This was a fun stream to do. I'm gonna cover some really fun, really interesting, and really exciting topics. We also had a fair amount of fun folks in the chat. It's nice to see you guys over here participating in the conversation. Yeah, everyone who's joined the chat, I appreciate you guys being in the chat. If you want to go ahead and join the Discord server, I would appreciate that as well. I think the link is in the description below. It's dscrd.ntnwb.cc.
It definitely is. Men are disencouraged.
Let's see, we've got
and get constantly shamed from it, while people see women as weaker and official Mike.
Let me check the chat here.
Chat. You know this society is run by mentally ill fools.
Kind of.
Butter.
Yeah, I mean, I get that.
Said in the chat. ILR.
The weird thing, Buttered, though, Buttered has an interesting point. Buttered says it definitely is because men are disencouraged to be seen as weak and get constantly shamed for it, while people see women as weaker, you know. It's interesting because I think if men try to get stronger, they're also criticized for that too. Right? And again, this is all internet stuff, so this could all be perpetrated by cartoons on the internet. But I think there is a general narrative out there that men need to be stoic and physically weak, while women need to be like extremely boisterous and expressive in their physical, you know, strength or weight or appearance doesn't really matter at all. They're 10s out of 10s as long as they're being confident, I think, right? But I think that kind of contributes to what I was saying earlier, what I was guessing, which is it's a thing of where it's like, oh, you're a man, you should be able to handle it. You should be able to handle scrutiny. You should be able to handle people making fun of you while you're in a manic episode. But if you're a woman, no, you're too weak and dainty. You are the weaker sex. So of course you're not gonna be able to handle criticism and scrutiny while you're in a manic phase, posting all these TikToks for the world to see. It's hypocritical. And it's kind of cringe. And it's just, you know, people exposing their own sexism on the internet. Right? It's interesting. But anyways, time to wrap up the stream. I will see you guys later. Time for me to shout out every single person who sent a message into the chat. You have Merely in the chat. Thank you for showing up in the chat, Merely. Buttered, thanks for popping into the chat. Official Mike. SDLTRIKIS. Couldn't stick around for too long, but he popped in. Thanks, Sidul Trickus, for popping into the chat. I hope I didn't butcher your name. But yeah, I will see you guys all later. Peace out, y'all. Peace out.
Merely. Said in the chat. CYA later, my guy.